All right, we're live. Well, I'm live, seeing as I'm the only one here. Okay, so as that guy, it's this guy I like to watch on TikTok. Come in the room, come in the room, come in the room. So, yeah, so since I'm the only one here, I'll be talking to myself in the beginning as usual. Hey, Tiara. Hey. Okay, got my first guest in here. All right. So anyway, the title says random thoughts on women and their shadow. And the only reason why I titled it that is because I really couldn't come up with anything else at the moment because it was really I like to use Tuesdays. I call it the cuss out session. Okay, so Tuesday represents Mars. Mars represents war strategy, and so I'm very big on war strategies. Just the cunning of it, and but I look at it, in different perspectives, not just actual war, right? The war that humans are constantly in with themselves. Humans are constantly in at war with themselves. So I like to talk about those things on Tuesdays, right? So when I talk about women and their shadow, women are in conflict with their shadows, right? And so this is why I always talk about how women outsource their shadow to men because they are in conflict with it. So if you're in conflict with your shadow, you don't want to face it. There's this term that we use in the occult world where we say you dive the abyss, right? And when you dive the abyss, that's just another expression for shadow work, right? But when you dive the abyss, there is a sort of death that comes along with that. And this is why I say that the feminine represents both death and rebirth, destruction and creation, right? In order to be able to create something new, you have to destroy what was old. You destroy what's not working anymore, right? So you can create something new. So that is the feminine energy. We represent that in all forms. Um, I always talk about the womb also being a tomb. And when I say that, sometimes people are kind of like, what? So what I mean by that is the your womb, obviously it holds a life, right? If you're pregnant, or if you get pregnant and you no longer want to carry the pregnancy to term, then you terminate the pregnancy. So now it also becomes a place of representing death, right? So that is the womb and also the tomb. Um, the darkness of the womb. We always know we associate death with darkness, which isn't a bad thing. Dark is not bad. But, I know in some cultures, like they'll wear white to funerals, right? Because white is symbols purity, right? And then I think that there is a pureness with death because you're no longer a part of all of this, right? And so you get to start over. If you're conscious, because that's another thing, we always have to be conscious and we've reached a certain level here on earth, excuse me, we're certain, that we've done the work on ourselves and all of that, and so we reach a certain type of frequency, a certain type of consciousness, right? And so when your physical body dies, if you can remember, because we always hear about memory swiping, if you can remember who you were and the work that you've done and the frequency and all of these things, now you can decide what your next life is going to be like. And so to me, there is a pureness that comes with that. That's my take on why in certain cultures they wear white to celebrate death, right? Because it's still a rebirth. Death is also a rebirth, right? Humans are so afraid of death, and that wasn't always the case. I think I know with the onset of these patriarchal religions and stuff like that, that's what created that fear of death. That's what created, oh, if you don't behave, you're not going to go to heaven, you're going to go to hell. Well, technically, being here in this earthly realm, because, and it wasn't always the case, but because of where we are, as far as where Earth is now in the environment, the atmosphere, and where it's sitting in the solar system, this could be considered hell anyway, right? So this is why I say, when you are bringing children here, you're bringing them here to suffer. People can say, oh, they don't have to have a bad life, and they don't. They absolutely don't. But you're still bringing them here. You're bringing them into a realm where they're going to have to work. They're going to go through things. They're going to have to figure things out. And there may even be some suffering involved at some point. But, and it doesn't have to be. But the bottom line is we're here. Right? And for the most part, on average, most of us are going to go through some shit when we come here, right? The biggest thing is these relationships and the trauma. I always say, actually, your first trauma is just being born, right? You're in the comfort of your mother's womb, and then you come out to this and the lights and all the things that's going on, because most women are having their babies in the hospital. So that can be very traumatic for the baby, not just the mother, but also the baby. So I think that is where your shadow is first created, right? I think that these are the types of things that isn't discussed. But I think that that's where your shadow first is first created. I was looking at this Netflix documentary about Charlie Sheen, the actor Charlie Sheen, and just his birth alone was extremely traumatic. I mean, like, he almost died. It was all kind of stuff going on just with his birth, just for him to get here. And he said that when he was born, the doctors, what did he say the doctors did? Because they have this thing where they say when you're first born, they slap the baby on the butt so the baby will cry, so they take their first breath and all that. Their first breath out of the womb. That's kind of traumatic too, because why are you hitting a newborn baby? You see all the crazy shit, the traumatic shit that we go through just coming here. But I can't remember what he said the doctors did, but it was very traumatic. And I was like, well, no wonder. That was his shadow that was created. No wonder he ended up going down the road of drugs and just all kind of crazy shit that he was involved in. And it makes sense that he would be in the entertainment industry. The entertainment industry to me is a breeding ground for people who have had extreme trauma in their lives, right? Because they can actually they can transmute that into these roles that they take, if they have enough to know to say, okay, this is what happened to me. This is my trauma, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to take all that and I'm going to immerse myself into this character, and I'm going to bring some of that with it into the character, right? So, when I say that, the humans are at war with themselves, and specifically women being at war with their shadow, this is, to me, is what leads to having your identity swiped. We talk about how we hear the stories about when you die, your memory gets swiped and all that. But to me, it's like when you come here, your identity is swiped when you get here, because you haven't even had a chance to get to know who you are before these roles and identities and everything are already given to you, right? And so this, to me, is where the conflict is with humans. And I always say this again, and I'm going to say this again. If we just leave girls alone and just allow them to flourish, put them in an environment where they feel safe, they can express themselves, and just allow them to flourish. Don't give them all of our own bullshit that we have as adults, because that's what we do. We tend to project all of our shit onto our children, because our children are just basically fragmented shadows of us. And so we want to project that onto them. And even though they're fragmented shadows of us, they're still their own person. This child is its own being, its own entity. And so it needs to be able to find out who he or she, who they are at their core. And they need to be able to feel safe in order to do that without the adults around them projecting all of their bullshit onto them. So that is the conflict, that is the war within humans, right? um so I've been really thinking a lot about women and the delusion that they are under when it comes to these relationships and with men and all of this stuff. And it's so interesting because I see a lot of women creators that they'll have really, really great content, and but they'll always revert back to, oh, men's need for sex isn't biological, it's conditioning and it's cultural and all of this stuff. And so I'm just like, okay, I'm not going to say that that's not true, but I think when women want to stay in that, that is another aspect of that conflict that a woman is in, because you are having a hard time accepting that though it is cultural and social, it is biological. They have to unload. Now, if a man knows this about himself and then he puts forth the effort and the discipline to rise above his default system, as I say, if he practices things like semen retention, I'm not going to get into a whole thing about that, because if there's any men watching or even women, well, there's just you right now, Tiara, but I don't want to give out all the goods for free, right? I don't want to talk about semen retention and the spiritual. Like, I'm not doing any of that, right? I'm just going to mention it to make a point. I have to be very careful about what I talk about on here for free. Um, so if he is not making a conscious effort to discipline himself and to first understand himself biologically, that this is something that he came here with. That is a part of the one of the impediments that the male child comes here with, right? Um, so when women like to just say, "Oh, it's just biology, it's just social conditioning, it's cultural," but it's like two men wrote a book where two men they basically wrote the book saying how that is men have to unload. If they don't, and they went into a whole thing about it, right? And so I think what a lot of women have a problem accepting is they are merely holes for men to unload. I said that the other day, and they didn't like it. They didn't like it. I turned off the comments. So, um, yeah, I turn off comments especially on TikTok, because I know who's coming over there to TikTok. The bros. They always want to come over and argue and try to place me in some sort of a humiliation ritual. This is what they do. So when I say that women don't accept that they're holes, right? This is not to try to make women feel bad or try to make them feel some kind of way. What this is about is helping women to understand the male nature, right? And so now they know what to look for. They know that, okay, he's going to say and do everything that he can just so he can get some. Okay, I already know that, right? So now I can decide, because I have all of the information, I can decide if I want to deal with him or not. Now, that's not to say that a man can't genuinely have some feelings for you and is fond of you and wants to, form some sort of a interpersonal relationship with you or not. I'm not saying that they can't do that. I mean, we see them doing it all the time. But we still have to understand them at their base nature. And we also have to understand that most of them are not going to do that kind of work. So this is why, if you've been with somebody for a man for a long time and you just be like, I don't feel like having sex, I don't feel, and he gets all upset and he's mad, and a lot of times he'll go cheat. And it's not taking anything away from whatever the two of you have or what you had or whatever, but he is going to fulfill that basic need of unloading. And so this is what, and another point I wanted to make, because I even said, if it's only social and cultural, then why are men unloading in animals? It was just recently about well, not just recently, I heard this about a few months ago. Some man was basically raping a goat, a female goat. Why are we doing that? Right? Because they have to unload. I saw one where this guy literally unloaded in a beehive. One was unloading in a turkey. Yeah, a dead turkey. You have a lot of like at funeral homes. They've cut back on hiring men. So I'm sure you can figure out why. So we have to accept that this is their base nature, and that base nature is conditioned, right? It's socialized. Okay. So it's like, I think that when this system was created, it was created with, okay, men know men. Men know that they have to do this. They know that they have this base need that they have to unload. Men know that men have an untamed beast inside of them. They know this. And so they created a system where, okay, in order for us to keep all the men from going around here acting a damn fool, let's create a system where we can give them all a wife. Right? So that'll cut back on some of it. I mean, the way men behave now, even with all the laws, imagine if they didn't have any of that. Just, I mean, it's crazy. So all of this to say that we have to understand and accept them for what they are. People will say to me, you hate men. I don't hate men. I understand them. I understand men. How, I mean, that's crazy anyway. I have a son. And he is very challenging at times. I don't hate men, but we have to understand them. We have to understand who they are and their base nature. And then that way, we can move accordingly. We know what we're dealing with. Women have to stop being under these delusions about men and accept them for who and what they are. Now, it's great if you find a man who's actually doing the work on himself and he's serious about it and he's very disciplined and he's very purpose driven. If you find a man like that, one of the things that women don't like is that he's not going to want to spend his every waking moment with you, because he's purpose driven. He doesn't have time to be sitting up under you all day, right? Okay, somebody keeps trying to call me, and let me see. Oh man. Okay, Tiara, let me know if you can still see me. Hold on. Can you still see me? Hold on. I have to text her real quick because. Okay. Were you able to still see me? Let me know in the chat if you were able to still see me, because then that'd be good for me to know. Um. So anyway, it's it's really it's really about, like I said, women not being under any delusions when it comes to men. That's the biggest thing. That's where women keep messing up. They're stuck in this delusion. They're stuck in this fairy tale. Even women who claim that they've done all this work, and there's still some part of them that is still stuck in that delusion. And that's why I talk about those women creators that be talking about, oh, it's not natural. It's just social. They don't need it. Yes, they do. In their base nature, yes, they do. Nobody's talking about them rising above that. They're just basically they're stating it just from the surface level of, what we've seen and what we know about men, right? And what we know about the patriarchy. But they're not really discussing it on that level. I don't Matter of fact, I don't recall seeing anybody else talk about it on the level of, yes, it's their base nature, but that even they can rise above their nature. They can do it. It's a choice. You have to choose to want to do it. Like, I don't hear anybody talking about that. Everybody's just talking about, oh, yes they do, and oh, no they don't. No they don't. It's cultural and it's social conditioning. Okay. And like, again, like I said, we're not saying that that's not true. So, what was I going to do? Because I think I lost my thought. Oh, so the delusion. I think for women, it's the delusion. Like I said, it's the fairy tale. It's the, um, I said something recently, as a matter of fact, kind of talking about this. And I talked about how women are just lazy and they're only getting with men because they want, well, first of all, they want children. They want, you know, they want to be able to control where the D goes, and they want that. Women try to act like they're not, like they're not sex crazed, or they don't want to have, like, yes you do. Like, women want to have sex just as much as men do, right? But they try to cover it up with wanting that whole family. No, you're just trying to cover up the fact that you got a little whore in you, and that's fine. I mean, all women have an inner whore. We all have it. There's nothing wrong with that. But women try to diffuse it by getting married and having their children and wanting that whole family, nuclear family. All of that shit is a cover up. It's all an illusion. Even talking about this whole protection and provide, all that shit is an illusion. I think if women were truly, left alone, as far as like being able to be true about who they are, who and what they are, they wouldn't be out here trying to Jedi mind trick men into marrying them. I think also with women, I think women are jealous of men because men are still going to do whatever the fuck they want, and women feel like they can't. And so, in order for them to sort of kind of tone that jealousy down, I guess, they try to control men, or Jedi, like I said, Jedi mind trick them into being whatever it is they want them to be. That's why you have so many women talking about, oh, well, men need to do this and men need to do that. Well, yeah, they do, but most of them are not. So what are you gonna do? You just gonna keep trying to make whoever this man is that you with, trying to make him be something that he isn't, trying to make him do something that he is not capable of doing? Is that what you're going to do? Or are you just going to accept him for who he is, and decide if you're going to deal with him or not? And understanding that if you're going to deal with him, be ready for what comes with that. Is he going to siphon your energy? Yes. Is he going to expect you to help him regulate his emotions? Yes. Is he going, all of these things? He's going to do all of that. And you just have to be willing to deal with it. If you want to deal with it, then go ahead. This is the thing. Like, I never tell women don't deal with men. I don't even tell women don't have children. The only thing that I do is I just want women to think. I don't want women to be under any delusions. Know what you're walking into. If you know that he got another baby mama somewhere, don't be under delusion that you're going to change him and he's somehow going to see you as being different. Be under the know what you're looking at. Look at the reality of things. Be grounded. Women spend too much time in the ethers. Be grounded and know that, okay, I know he got a baby mama over here and he got another one over here, but I'm gonna still deal with him. Okay. Actually, I have more respect for you if you know it, if you know that going in, than to be trying to be delusional and think you're gonna change him and he gonna all of a sudden you're gonna be the one. Right? Women have to really, really understand and stop being so fucking delusional and understand that men know exactly what they want from you. And the number one thing they want from you is sex. That's what they want. And, stop trying to make it pretty and delusional and fairy tale. And, but you got to know what you're getting yourself into when you're dealing with a man. If you really know and you have a full understanding of yourself, this is where self-awareness comes in. You know what you want. You know what you want this to be for you. Okay, he's cool. He looks good. I'm attracted to him. He has all these other things going on. Okay, I mean, he can get it. Right. And then, right. And if you choose to deal with him after that, then do it. If not, then don't. Like, just don't be delusional. Like I said, women spend too much time in the ethers. After you have sex with a man for the first time, he gets clear, and men are clear, and women are cloudy, right? Women got to stop being cloudy. Stop spending so much time in the ethers. Be grounded. Know what you're dealing with. Pay attention to what he's telling you. If he's saying he's going to do all these things, oh, okay. You continue to do your thing though, because if he's for real, he's going to show you. Then you'll see whether it's lip service or not. And the the other delusion that women are under is love. You know, Women give sex to get love. Men give love to get sex, right? I remember my aunt told me that a long time ago. It just stuck with me. Because love is a frequency. Love is freedom. It's not what women think it is. It's not this romanticized version. If you look up the word romance, one of the words that is synonymous with romance is delusional. I said there, you look it up, you'll see delusional. Fantasy, right? So the love thing, it's not an emotion, it's a frequency. You can feel things for a person, you can feel care. You have the care, the compassion, empathy. All of these things are great. But love in and of itself is just a frequency. And if you look at the the triangle, or I don't know if it's a triangle, but if you look at the tiers of human, like dealing with like consciousness and self actualization, if you look at each level, you'll see at the very top that self actualization is actually at the very top, and right under self actualization is love, right? So there is no higher love than love of self. That's first and foremost. And instead of women doing that, they take they outsource it to everybody else. I love my children. Okay, that's great. But do you love yourself? Right? I love my man. I love my husband. Okay, but do you love yourself? So it's like this delusion of love is just that, because it's a frequency. It's not something that makes a person beholden to you. You can't, people weaponize it to try and keep that man, or keep pushing out the babies because you think that's going to keep that man, um or even men telling you that they love you so they can keep fucking you, and it's all this stuff, right? People weaponize love all the time. So you have to come out of that delusion. Even marriage and all that stuff, it's all an illusion. I mean, it's not even, it's not rooted. It's humans created that. As I say, marriage has nothing to do with love. It has nothing to do with God. It has nothing to do with any of that. Humans created that, and they just attached the love, and then created a witch's brew with the religion and all that stuff. But it don't have nothing to do with love. To me, friendship is higher than marriage, because people are addicted to, they worship the idea of marriage because they think that makes a person stay with them. It makes them think that they have ownership. It's not just men who claim ownership over women once they get married. Women do the same thing. And really, the ownership that both the man and the woman are trying to display is ownership of each other's genitals. That's what it is. Because what else are you trying to own? What else are you trying to claim ownership of this person? That's all you want to own. And that's why people get married, so they can own each other's genitals. That's it. That's why I said it's a fucking illusion. It's not rooted in anything. Friendship, that's where it is. Marriage is war. All you gotta do is tell this dude you don't want to be with him no more, and watch his true colors come out. He'll start mistreating you. He'll start, you know, just being an asshole, and just because it's war. It's a war tactic. It's marriage, and the nuclear family is patriarchy's biggest accomplishments. It's a war tactic. I love weddings, but I do not support the institution of marriage in this construct. The way it is constructed and all of, I do not support that shit at all. I guess that's why I'm the mistress of divorce. People be like, well, what about, a husband and wife and your children and family? You don't support that? I support people doing things and really thinking about, I support people who have consequential thinking, right? And preparation and understanding the science of mating, and you know being very self-aware of themselves, and self-aware of themselves and the person that they're with, the person's genetics and where they come from. And like, these are things that people are not considering. They just fucking and having babies, and people are just getting married because they're so in love. That, no, I don't support. I support strategic movement for a woman if she's going to get with a man. I support a woman negotiating her womb if she's going to do this. That's what I support. So, and then as far as like the nuclear family, no, I don't. I mean, people are gonna do it. I'm not gonna, like. It's always funny because my my daughter be like, "Oh, so you're not gonna talk to this person anymore?" I'm like, I didn't say that. I just don't support the system. I don't support that. I don't believe in it. I don't think it's conducive to women's health, mental, physical, emotional, spiritual health. It's not conducive. I mean, we hear all the time about how women. Whoa. We hear all the time how women's health is always affected because of marriage. We hear that single women are always the healthiest, right? Married women have all kinds of problems. I mean, there's a link to women, married women, and autoimmune diseases. I mean, you hear this stuff all the time. I think that you have to consider all things. I was looking at this guy the other day. I like following him. He's this divorce lawyer, right? And he mentioned something about how you have so many single people now, young people, and they're saying that they don't want to get married, they don't want to have kids, right? And so he was like, yeah, and it's based on what people are basing this on what they see on social media. I always have a problem with that, because I don't think that you can just blame social media for people not wanting to get married. Now, is social media showing us the other side of things? Absolutely. We would never have known about the statistics of women filing for divorce and the reasons why they're doing it if not for social media. We would not have heard about all of the health issues that women suffer if not for social media. Health issues under these relationships with men if not for social media. So I look at that as you have women that are on here and they are discussing their shared experience, right? And people don't like that because it is in the best interest of the system here that women stay delusional and locked in fantasy, right? I think that when women are not delusional and are very, very aware of the system and how it works and what it's doing and how much of a war tactic that it is, when women are very much aware of that, it will lower the birth rate. It will lower the rate of people getting married because most people are getting married under a fucking illusion. Illusion and delusion. Men are just as delusional as women, right? So when you take the delusion away, right? When you wake up, then you start to see things for what they really are. You're like, wait a second, I don't want to do this, right? Why did I decide to get married? Why did I decide to have children? Did I feel like I had, like, to me, I feel like a lot of women act like they don't have a choice. You know, just because you have a womb doesn't mean you have to have children. You do have options. It's like they act like they don't have an option. Or they act like they can't enjoy a relationship with a man without trying to Jedi mind trick him into picking her or marrying her. Why can't you just enjoy this man and experience him and then move on? You That's an option. Getting married is an option. You don't have to do it. Right? I think a lot of times men, it's really tricky because to me, men are getting married because they have to. They have a need because they're naturally codependent. So that's why they want to get married. Right? Women are getting married under the fairy tale and the romance and all of this stuff. Men are very aware of, when I say their delusion, I'll talk about that when I talk about their delusion, but they're very well aware of why they're getting married. This is why you hear people say all the time that men don't marry the love of their life. They marry the woman that's right there at that time. And this is why I said a long time ago, most women, including myself, we were all the default wife. And I got so much flack for that. Women did not like that. But it's true. Most women, most wives are the default. You're not his dream girl. He knows for the most part that he can't even access his dream girl because most men are average. Most most relationships between men and women are mediocre, right? There's no greatness attached to it, right? Now, so he knows that he can't get his dream girl. His dream girl is, you know, I don't know, somebody look like, I don't know, Beyonce, Rihanna, whoever, whatever beautiful Tiana Taylor. What's her name? What's the child's name? Tiana Taylor? Is that her name? Something like that. Anyway, that would be his dream girl. Now he know he can't have access to her because his dream girl would require way too much. His dream girl is not going to want mediocre. He knows that. His dream girl is going to be someone who he would consider high maintenance. And he knows that. So he don't want that. So he's gonna marry old girl over here. She ain't requiring much. You know, she cool. She pretty to look at. I can deal with that. Right? In-house pussy. Right? So there you go. So that's what they're doing. So, but they're doing that because they also understand that the aesthetic, what it affords them, having that aesthetic, it looks good in the high among the hierarchy of other males. See, that's why another reason why men get married, so they can impress the other males in the hierarchy, right? And then two, professionally, men who are married, they move up faster, they get promoted faster, right? So there's so many benefits for men. They actually live longer, they're actually healthier, all of these things, and we've heard it all before. So it's very beneficial for them. For women, women are afforded privileges under marriage. And there are some benefits, right? You get to, feel like you get to stunt on other women. There is a social currency attached to that as a woman when you're married, especially if your husband has a halfway decent position in his work. Maybe he's I don't know, maybe he's a manager in the department and he has like 30 people under him. It looks good on paper. He makes a decent salary. You get to enjoy little amenities and stuff, right? So it gives you that social currency as a woman, right? And then a lot of times married women, they tend to look down on single women. They turn their nose like, right? So it affords them those types of privileges and benefits, right? So, but my mission is to break women of the delusion. That is my mission. I mean, again, I am the mistress of divorce, right? I call myself that because divorce in and of itself is just a transition. It's a change, but it's also a new reality, a rebirth for a woman, because now I get to do what I want to do. I get to live my life the way I want to. I don't have to go, I can make decisions on my own and not by committee. I don't have to run things past him all the time. Now I can reinstall my own inner authority, so I can make the decisions on my own, so I can live my life and navigate the way I choose to, right? I don't have to view the world through his lens anymore, right? So this is why I am the mistress of divorce. And like I said, my mission is to break women of the delusion, to deconstruct this system, to get women to see things for what they really are, so they know what they're walking into if they decide to deal with a man, if they decide to have children. They know exactly what they're walking into. The better choices that women make in men, like that also is going to lower the birth rate. Is going to lower the birth rate and the marriage rate, right? So that is my mission. Wow, Tiara, it's literally still just me and you. I'm really surprised nobody else has come in here. And I'll go live again on Wednesday. I don't know what I'm gonna talk about yet. I have to got a few things in mind. You haven't joined the community yet, so I'm still waiting on that. You're an alumni, so you get to come in at half the price. So let me know so I can send you the link. Yes. Nice talk. Yeah, just random things that I wanted to discuss. I've really been thinking about this whole marriage thing, and oh, you have a bad connection here. That's what was happening, I think, in our sessions a few times. I think you were having some issues with your connection. Um, but yeah, I've really, like I said, I've really been thinking about this whole marriage thing, and really thinking about how I want to help women to understand it and deconstruct this, right? And get out of the delusion. When you take yourself out of the delusion, you also remove yourself from being in daughtership, because women remain in daughtership. This is why they want to me. Um yeah, this is them still being in daughtership. And this is why I say, with women, a lot of times when they're getting married, it's because they want to be owned. And they know, even without it being said, women know that when they marry a man, that's ownership. He owns you. He owns that womb. And they know this. And women are okay with it. And that's the thing. They don't want to admit that they're okay with it. They want to say they don't. I'm not owned. I'm not a slave, blah, blah, blah. But at the same time, yeah, you are. He owns you. Because most people are getting married under this Christian concept and ideology of marriage. And so if you're getting married under that, then you know that these Abrahamic religions are all patriarchal. And so the one thing that stands in all of them is God first. I'm sorry, God over man, man over woman, woman over the children. So it's really God over man, man over the wife and the children, because the wife is placed in the same category as the child. She's looked at as a child. especially stay-at-home moms. Them more so than at least women, some women who are actually working and bringing in the money, right? But stay-at-home moms and wives, they are seen as just one of the other children, right? He gives you an allowance, just like you give the children an allowance, right? You got to go to him for everything like you will go to your own father, right? So you have completely given up your identity and you have completely given up your own inner authority just so you can be owned by this man. And this is what women are doing. Women are conditioned to be able to be of service to men, right? That is a part of the conditioning because again, this is a patriarchal structure, and under patriarchy, women are meant to serve men. When you decide to go against all of that, you're to get a lot of backlash from not just men, but women, right? Especially women in the church. They are the most insufferable slaves. That's what they are. Because the the level of male centeredness with them is like that shit needs to be studied, right? The male centeredness, the phallus worship. I mean, it needs to be studied. They are like next level religious women, especially like black women who are like really religious. Oof, that's a whole other beast. You ever been around a black woman who's like really religious, like really Christian? Child. Um, yeah, so anyway, I just wanted to talk about that today. Like I said, I was thinking about the delusion that women are under, and especially when it comes to marriage and relationships with men, and not accepting men for who and what they are at their base nature, and understanding that. And if you still decide to deal with him, just know what you're walking into, right? Now, especially with the red flags, if you see that the nigga got some like weird shit about him, then just cut your losses and keep moving. Don't. That's another thing. When you see that he's participating in degenerate behavior, I don't understand the, like, why would you stay? Like, why would you deal with that? Well, I know why. Because of the delusion. And because, when women, they want to be Barbara the Builder, so now they think they can fix him and make him act right. And this goes right back to what I was saying. If women would just stop trying to change men into these, I don't know, Prince Charmings or whatever it is women are trying to do, and just enjoy him, just have that experience and then keep it moving. I don't understand, like, and actually men would be okay with that, because I've always said that I think men just want women, I just think they want women to slut them out. I say that a lot. I think that that's what a lot of them want. They're doing all of this other shit because they know, number one, like I said, they need it. They need women, right? In whatever capacity. So whether you're marrying him or whether you're just in a relationship with him or whatever it is you're doing, whatever sort of energy exchange you have going on with him, he needs you for that. But women have to also understand their own power, and you have to have enough sense to say, okay, I'm gonna enjoy him for this particular time and then I'm out, because I'm not getting ready to fall into this pattern of allowing him to siphon my energy, right? So you have to be very strategic as a woman when you're dealing with a man. And the first thing that you do, the first strategy that you have to master is stop being fucking delusional. That's the first thing you got to do. I don't think a woman should even deal with a man until she knows for a fact that she's going into this without any delusions. No expectations. I mean, you can have some expectations. I mean, you expect some common human decency, of course. But, other than that, no delusions. I have no delusions. I know how he is. I know what I want, and I know what I want to experience. And once I experience that, then I'll decide if I want to continue on or not. This is how women should need to start thinking and navigating when they're dealing with men. So, I think that's it for me. I got some stuff coming into the community, Tierra, and I'll keep talking about it because I'm waiting for you to, you know, I'm waiting for you to come join us. I have some things for you to do in there. Got a couple of modules. Nothing too, too much because I get it. Who wants to do? I know for me, I'll be like, oh my God, not another course. It's not that. I mean, I like some courses though. But yeah, come through. Come check it out. There's some stuff in there for you to do. I got some case studies in there, some really, really great case studies. Um, I'm going to start going live in the community. So, those lives will obviously just be for my members in the community. And so, I won't do it on here for everybody. It'll just be for the ladies in the community. Because I have some good stuff coming. That's some stuff I'm working on. So, yeah. So anyway, nobody else is here, Tierra, but I still got to put my plug in. I'm offering, the free 45 coaching session. I also have my 4-week one-on-one container. And I recently just uploaded the Woman Underneath Masterclass I did last week. All of those offers are available on my Stand store. And, when you get a chance, I know, Tierra, obviously you already know, but again, I have to put in my plug. So, for you, ladies that are going to be watching this on the replay, you can go over to my Stand store and check out all of my offers. The link is in my bio. So you just, at the top of the bio, you just click that baby and it'll take you right to it. So, that's it. I'm going to get off of here and, 'cause I actually have a training to go to. So, yeah, so I'm gonna get off of here and I will see everyone tomorrow. Again, ladies, for the replay, I'll see you tomorrow for my regular scheduled Wednesday live. And that's it. Okay, so I'll see you tomorrow.